Hey, welcome back. So now we're going to install SQL Server Management Studio, which again is that tool that we'll use to connect to the database and interact with it, play around with it. And the cool thing about that is, once this is installed, we're actually going to be able to start writing code, which I think is the reason we're all here, or at least I hope so. Let's go ahead and click Install Ssms. And you'll be taken to a Microsoft website that will have another link we'll need to click to download Ssms. So if we click this link, we should see an executable file appear in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. And that's going to take a few minutes to download, so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit here. So now the executable file is finally finished downloading. And if I can stop clicking the wrong button, I actually need to go ahead and click Open File, and that should kick off the installation wizard. Now at this point, you may see a dialog box pop up asking you if you want to allow this application to make changes on your computer. If so, just click Yes, and we should be able to proceed with installation. Now at this point, we just need to wait for the first screen of the installation wizard to appear. Once it does, we'll click Install, and then we'll need to wait a few minutes for the installation process to complete, so I'll fast forward here for your viewing pleasure. So it looks like our installation completed successfully. So first we'll click Close to exit the installation wizard, and then we'll click the Start button at the bottom left corner of the screen, and then look up under Recently Added at the top and click SQL Server Management Studio. Now it's possible that on your machine, SQL Server Management Studio won't appear under Recently Added Applications, but if not, that's no big deal. Just type the name of the application, SQL Server Management Studio, in the search bar at the bottom left, and it should appear. Now, this is a pretty big application, so the very first time you open it, it's possible it will take a couple minutes to open. So I'm actually going to fast forward a little bit here. Now that Management Studio has finally opened, we should see this Connect to Server dialog box appear. Now we're ultimately going to stick with all the defaults you see in this dialog box, but I want to offer a brief explanation of them before we move on. The server type is a database engine. That's what you're pretty much always going to choose there. The server name is just the computer name, so to speak, of the database that we just installed, the database server we just installed. And the authentication method is Windows authentication. What that really means is the database is authenticating you. It is verifying that you are you with the same credentials that you use to log into your computer, your login and your password. Alternatively, you can set up a login and a username and a password for this database that is different than the one you used on your Windows machine to log in. But for now, we'll just stick with Windows authentication. It works the same and it's a little simpler. So now we'll go ahead and click Connect to actually connect Management Studio to the database. And after a few seconds, we should see some stuff appear on the left-hand side of the screen. And we're not going to worry about what all that means right now, except that it means we have successfully connected to our database from Management Studio, which is great news. Cool. So now that we've connected to the database, the first thing we're going to do is follow kind of a long-standing tradition in introductory programming tutorials where you write code that makes the computer say, "Hello World." I'm not sure where the tradition got started, but it's pretty much universal, so we'll follow suit. So to do that, you'll want to click the New Query button in the top left corner of the application, and that will open a text editor window. And this is where we're actually going to write the code that's going to say "Hello World." And it turns out the code to do that in SQL is extremely simple. You'll just want to type select and then "Hello World." You'll just need to encase or surround "Hello World" in single quotes. And we'll get into the rules for why that needs to be the case later on. But once you type that, you'll click the Execute button, which kind of looks like a play button. And there we are. "Hello World." Pretty cool, huh? So today you can say you wrote your first SQL. You wrote a perfectly valid SQL query that said "Hello World." So I think that's enough fun for this video. I think that's hopefully a nice little tease for what's to come. So up next, we will actually download a sample database, which will have really the data that's going to form the basis for the rest of the course and all the exercises we'll be doing. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'll see you then.